Well, hello there and happy Christmas in July. This is Crochet and Fiber. My name is Sig, and you, of course, are always welcomed here. We're so glad to have you. Okay, so in this video, we'll just jump right into it. This video, I'm going to show you how to make the tree skirt for the mini holiday tree that I showed you how to make last week. The tree skirt can also double as a table topper, a doily of sorts, something you can put on your holiday table underneath your holiday spread. It's very versatile, and I really enjoyed making it, and I hope you enjoy making it too. But before we get into that, I'm going to talk about the baubles for your trees. So these baubles, these little miniature baubles, can be as easy as taking your favorite stitch markers. So I have some stitch markers here that I have collected over the past couple of years. They typically send them when I purchase like indie yarns and that sort of thing. They're often little gifts. So I've got quite a few of them. And these make great tree baubles. These are, you know, they're so fun and they're so colorful, and they really do make great tree baubles. So if you have a ginormous collection like I do, perfect. Also, another thing you can do are charms. So you can get them at craft stores. You might have a whole bunch of them that you've collected, just special little charms that have either been gifted to you or you've purchased on your own. They typically come with these little lobster claw hangers. So it's basically, you see the lobster claw hangers on the various different stitch markers. You also see them use the same lobster claw little clasps on charms. And like I said, they've got all sorts of great ones. An idea is if you get the charms that actually are numbered, you can use it as a yearly advent calendar. You just hang the appropriate numbered charm on the tree as each day goes by and gets closer to the holidays. But now, what I'm going to discuss is, this is what I did for my tree, and that is I raided my bead stash. So now I have a habit of purchasing beads from time to time. Every now and again, I come across beads that I think are, you know, pretty or cute, or I might have something I can do with them. And if they're on sale and I'm in the mood, I might buy beads. So as a result of that, I've collected over the years not a lot of beads, but a good selection of beads. And you can see that right in here. So because my tree this year, I really wanted to focus on more reds and golds, I went and I found the beads in my collection that were of different reds and different golds and bronzes and some whites, because they all seem to fit. And as you can see, so like this little bead right here, so I just basically beaded it together and I attached my own little lobster claw. Let's see if I can get a better picture of that for you. So these little lobster claws, if you have to purchase them separately, you can get like 5 of them for $1. You can buy them in bulk, so you can end up with like 40 of them for just a few dollars. It's not a terrible expense, and they're perfect for hanging on your tree. So you can see this is some more beads that I have. These aren't expensive beads. These just happen to be what I happen to have. And I went and I just strung them together like I normally would. And I attached the little lobster claw. And that made the perfect little holiday baubles for my tree. And for me, this gave me a chance to make my tree a little more matchy-matchy, a little more consistent in its coloring and theme. However, the charms I mentioned before are also, you know, quite fun. I mean, that's like memories, right? So that's like hanging a bunch of different memories on your little tree. Just different ideas, give you different ways of approaching it. Now you can go ahead and you can make these any way you want to. You can add whichever beads you want to. You can string them together. You can, you know, if you got kids in the house, you can get the kids to help you. Maybe let them make their own little baubles. So your options are many options, many ways to decorate this fun, more classic holiday tree. So before we move on to the actual table topper slash tree skirt, I want to talk about the topper on my tree. And this is the topper that I made for my tree. It was real simple. You can see that this just jewelry components I made. I mean, I have some beads. Here, this is like one of those findings that you might put at the end of maybe some jewelry, a necklace that you're making. And then this is just a large enamel bead. And you can see the same bead right here. And I just kind of got creative and I just went ahead and connected it into what might otherwise be considered a hoop earring component. And then I glued it onto a dowel. Now, the dowel can be important, right? It's just basically, it's just a piece of wood with a little slender tip to it that I use because this is what I then just kind of work down into the top of the tree and it sits there perfectly. So this part of your dowel is either going to just sit firmly in the foam if you're using a foam cone, or if you're just using a tree that you just stuffed with polyfill, this will certainly fit in there quite nice and hold sturdy and stable. All you have to do is you just have to glue it into your topper or attach it somehow. That's a little beyond the scope of this video, but I think you can probably figure it out if you need to. So in this case, I just used this red and gold bead that I liked and I gave it a little halo for the topper. You might come across a star that you like better and do the same thing. You might actually decide to crochet maybe a star or paint a little star and then attach that to a dowel and then run that down through the top of your tree. So these are all just different ideas you can use to finish off the tree and the style and the feel that you want to convey with it. So now let's go ahead and let's just move on to the table topper or tree skirt, this piece right here. It's a lacy piece, but it's done with a little bit of a heavier yarn. You know, you're going to use your sock weight yarn, your weight 2. And for this particular piece, I get into pretty much what size hook I used a little further into the video. And really that's about it. You know, you just go ahead and follow the instructions. You can make this in any colorway you want to. I used some sock yarn. And then, of course, this is from my stash. So I used what I had. I didn't go out and buy any more yarn. I just simply used what I had. So you can see that the holly leaves and the berries are sock yarn. And then, of course, the outside of the triangle motif is also a sock yarn. Super simple. I just used what I had. And then the white part, however, I don't have any sock yarn that's just straight white. So what I used was a 2-weight cotton yarn, and it just works. Now, you don't have to do that. You can use whatever yarn you happen to have available, and it's still going to turn out very nice and quite perfect. Okay, so that's probably enough babble from me. I'm going to go ahead and let's just go on and move right into the tutorial. So to make the tree skirt or table topper, whatever you're going to use this for, you are going to need to make these, and I'm going to go ahead and obviously show you how to do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the berry first of the holly. You're going to want to make a total of 6 of them, and it's real simple. So for this, all we really need to have is a hook, a 3mm hook. This is approximately a D size hook. And then you'll just want to have a yarn needle, for weaving in your ends. So I'm going to begin with my red yarn. As mentioned before, this is a weight 2 yarn, a basic sock yarn. And then my hook, it's a 3mm hook, basically a size D hook. And then I'm going to start by just making that adjustable ring, magic ring, whatever you want to call it is fine. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start off by making 5 single crochets into the ring. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to tighten my ring. And then I'm going to join right into that very first single crochet. And that's basically my berry. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to fasten off, and this will be my first berry. I'll need to make 5 more of these. Okay, so let's move on to the actual holly leaves. Okay, so once we've completed the berry, we're going to move on to the actual holly leaf. And now the holly leaf is like a 3-prong. It has 3 arms. And so I'm going to begin by making this adjustable ring, or magic ring if you prefer to call it that. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get that started. And then I am going to go and make a single crochet. Then I'm going to chain 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. Next, I'm going to turn my chain slightly so the back is facing me. And what I want to do is I want to slip stitch 9. And I'm going to begin my first slip stitch in this second chain from my hook. And not only am I going to the second chain, but really more specifically, I want to put that slip stitch right here into the back hump of that chain. So that's my first slip stitch. And I'm going to continue to place those slip stitches into the back hump all the way down. So that's going to be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then right here into the single crochet 10. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Next, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make another single crochet right into the loop. I'm going to begin again. I'm going to chain 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. I'm going to turn my work slightly. I'm going to make 9 slip stitches down the back of the chain, and then that one last stitch, the single crochet right there at the top of that single crochet, I will be placing my 10th slip stitch. So far I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then my 10th stitch right here, my 10th slip stitch. And now that is the completion of my second arm, and I want one more. So again, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to make that single crochet, and then I'm going to chain 11. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And then of course, make sure I have my 10 slip stitches all the way down. And then the 10th one. So that's my third arm. Now the next thing I'm going to do is what I want to do is get set up for round 2. So I just go ahead and I tighten that circle closed. And then I'm going to slip stitch right into the very first single crochet, but I'll be working in the back loop. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make 1 slip stitch. I'll weave in that tail a little later. And then I'm going to make another slip stitch. and then one more, so a total of 3 slip stitches. Now in the next stitch, and of course we're going to continue to work back loop only, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to place a single crochet plus a half double crochet into the same stitch. And the stitch after that, I'm going to place a double crochet. Then I'm going to do a chain 3 picot. So 1, 2, 3. Go ahead and make that picot. And then I'm going to double crochet into the same stitch. Next, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to place a half double crochet into that next stitch. And then I'm going to place a single crochet into that same stitch. So far your piece should look something like this. Next, I'm going to make a slip stitch. Stitch after that, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to place a single crochet. And then now the stitch after that, I'm going to place a half double crochet. Then a chain 3 picot, 1, 2, 3. And then I'm going to place a half double crochet into that same stitch. Now next stitch, I'm going to place a single crochet. And then right here in this next stitch, that sits here right at the top of my leaf arm, stem, something like that. Whatever we call this center part of the leaf, the vein. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to make that slip stitch, and then I'm going to do a chain 3 picot here. So 1, 2, 3. And go ahead and make that picot. And then in this very next stitch, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make a slip stitch. And then the stitch after that, I'm going to make a single crochet. So basically I'm going to mirror the first side of the leaf. I'm going to mirror the second side of the leaf to look like that. So the next stitch, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to place my first half double crochet. And then I'm going to make a picot, a chain 3 picot. And then I'm going to place a half double crochet right into that same stitch. In the next stitch, I'm going to go ahead and I am going to place a single crochet. Then I'm going to place a slip stitch into the next stitch. Now in the stitch after that, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to place a single crochet. And then in that same stitch, I'm going to need to place a double crochet. In the stitch after that, I'm going to place a double crochet plus a chain 3 picot plus another double crochet into that same stitch. And then in the stitch after that, I'm going to place a half double crochet. And then a single crochet into that same stitch. So now you can see I have my first arm of my holly leaf, or my first leaf if we're looking at this in terms of 3 holly leaves on a single stem. I know language matters and sometimes I struggle with it. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is I want to slip stitch in each of the next 5 stitches. Okay, so again, we're working in the back loop only, so 1 and 5. And we're starting the leaf process all over again. So again, the next stitch, single crochet, plus a half double crochet. And then the next stitch is going to be a double crochet, plus a chain 3 picot plus another double crochet into that same stitch. And then we're going to move on to the next stitch, which is going to be a half double crochet plus a single crochet into the same stitch. Next stitch is going to be a slip stitch, and then the stitch after that is going to be a single crochet, and the stitch after that is going to be a half double crochet plus a 3 chain picot plus, in the same stitch, one more half double crochet. And then in the next stitch is going to be a single crochet. And then in the stitch after that, which brings us back to the top of the second leaf, is going to be a slip stitch. Then of course the chain 3 picot is going to be right here at the top of this, just like that. And then I'm going to go ahead and in the next stitch, I am going to make a slip stitch and I'm going to start mirroring the stitches on down the other side of the leaf. So I'll show this to you one more time and then I'll leave you to do the third leaf on your own. So we're going to go and do a single crochet. And the next is going to be a half double crochet plus a chain 3 picot plus another half double crochet right into that same stitch. Then the next stitch is going to be a single crochet. Next stitch is going to be a slip stitch. And then the stitch after that is going to be a single crochet plus a half double crochet into the same stitch. And then again, the stitch after that is going to be a double crochet plus a chain 3 picot plus another double crochet into the same stitch. Then I'm going to place a half double crochet into the stitch after that. And then I'm going to place a single crochet into the same stitch. So you have your half double crochet and your single crochet into the same stitch. And then I'm going to go ahead and I am going to slip stitch in each of the next 5 stitches and begin again, just as before. And then when I've completed this third leaf and made my way all the way around, I'm going to end with 2 more slip stitches and I'm going to fasten off. I'm going to join and fasten off right here on the other side, and I will have my holly leaf. So once you've finished your holly leaf, or leaves rather, now is a good time to actually go ahead and sew your berry right there into the middle. I'm going to do that and then we'll move on to the next step. But for the purposes of this video, I want to use my white cotton yarn here. And I'm going to begin right here at this smaller point on the side, or a top side rather, of this holly leaf. I'm just going to go ahead, I'm going to insert my hook right here into the middle of that picot. And go ahead, I'm going to tie in. And then I'm going to place a single crochet into that same stitch. Then I'm going to chain 3, 1, 2, and 3. And then in my next picot, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to place a double crochet, like so. Then I'm going to chain 3 again, 1, 2, 3. And then in the next picot, I'm going to place another double crochet. And then I'm going to chain 3, 1, 2, and 3. And then I'm going to place a single crochet into the next picot. So this is what we have so far. Now we're going to work up to this center point on this holly leaf right here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to chain 3, 1, 2, and 3. Then I'm going to place a single crochet into that picot right there at the top. I'm going to chain 3. And I'm going to place another single crochet into that same picot stitch, just like this. And then I'm going to continue on, chain 3, single crochet into the next picot, chain 3, double crochet into the next picot, chain 3, double crochet into the next picot, chain 3 again, single crochet into the next picot, chain 3, and then single crochet into the next picot. And because it's at the tip of this leaf, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to chain 3, and then I'm going to single crochet into that same picot, just like so. And then I'm going to do exactly what I did on the first 2 sides. I'm going to complete this final side. Okay, so now that I've completed up here to the last center point of my last holly leaf in this triple holly leaf motif, I'm going to finish up this round of the white yarn by making a chain 3. And then I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to tie it right here into, I'm going to make that join right here into this first single crochet that we made. Now, the next thing I want to do is I'm going to make an extended double crochet right here into this same single crochet stitch because I want to start my next round of this white yarn. I'm going to go ahead and I'm making my extended double crochet. And then next what I want to do is I want to place a double crochet for each stitch. So in this 3 chain space, I'm going to place 3 double crochets. And then I'm going to place a double crochet into this next double crochet. And then I'm going to place 3 double crochets into this 3 chain space. And then I'm going to place a double crochet into the next double crochet. And then again, 3 double crochets into this 3 chain space. And then a double crochet into this next single crochet. Then I'm going to place 3 double crochets into the next 3 chain space. And then I'm going to place a double crochet into the next single crochet right there. Now the next thing I'm going to do at this corner is I'm going to place a double crochet into that 3 chain space, and then I'm going to chain 3. I'm going to place another double crochet into that same 3 chain space, and that allows me to make my next corner. And then I'm going to continue on just before a double crochet into the next single crochet. And then I want to place 3 double crochets into the next 3 chain space, and then a double crochet into the next single crochet, and so on and so forth, just like we did on this side. Corners are going to be a repeat of the corner we just completed. And when I make it all the way around, I'm simply going to join and fasten off and move on to the next color I want to use. If you want to continue using the same color you are using for this particular part of the motif, by all means, continue just using that color. But I'm going to finish up with this color and then I'll meet you right back here. So now that you've finished round 2 of the white yarn, or whatever color yarn you happen to be using, it's time to move on to the next round. Now for this round, I'm going to be using this green, pretty much the same green yarn I used for my holly leaf, but you can use, again, any color you care to. Now for this piece, basically you're just going to want to start anywhere except for the corners at this point. So I'm just going to go ahead, I'm just going to simply tie in right here. I'm going to place a single crochet into that same stitch. And then I'm going to make a single crochet in each stitch after that until I get to the next corner. Now that I'm at my next corner, I'm simply going to go ahead and I'm going to place a single crochet into that chain 3 space. I'm going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then I'm going to place another single crochet into that same chain 3 space. And then I'm going to continue to place a single crochet into each stitch after that until I get to the next corner, at which time I will repeat what I just did at this very first corner. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to finish up this round, and I will meet you right back here after I've joined into the first single crochet of this round, and I will tell you what to do next. So once you've completed your first round of this new colorway, I'm going to go ahead and join, which I've already done. And what I want to do is I want to make an extended double crochet into this same single crochet that I just joined into. And then of course, this is my first double crochet. I'm going to chain 1, and then I'm going to skip 1, and I'm going to place a double crochet into the stitch after that. Next, I'm going to chain 1, I'm going to skip 1, and I'm going to place a double crochet into the next stitch after that. So I'm going to continue just this way until I reach the corner of this motif. Okay, so you can see basically I have this little windows or mesh pattern going on. And I'm at my first corner. So after my last double crochet and my chain stitch, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to place a double crochet into that chain 3 space, and I'm going to chain 1. I'm going to repeat this 2 more times. So double crochet into that chain 3 space, and I'm going to chain 1, and then a double crochet into that same chain 3 space, and then I'm going to chain 1. So basically you have the 3 double crochets plus a chain 1 into that chain 3 space at the corner. Then I'm going to skip the next stitch, and then I'm going to place a double crochet into the stitch after that, and I'm going to continue as before until I hit the next corner, at which time I will repeat exactly what I did for this first corner we just completed. So I'm going to finish up this second row of this colorway, or round rather, and then I will meet you right back here to show you how to complete the third and final round of this last colorway. Okay, so now if I come around, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to join into that extended double crochet, that first double crochet. And then I'm going to place a single crochet into that same stitch. And then I'm going to make a single crochet for each stitch after that until we hit the corner. Okay, so now that we're at the corner, basically what I'm going to do is I then place a single crochet into the first double crochet at the corner, right? And then a single crochet into that chain one space. And this is going to bring us to the center double crochet, the second double crochet of the 3 double crochets we have in this little cluster. In that stitch, what I'm going to do is I'm going to place a single crochet plus 2 chains plus another single crochet. So that helps us tighten up our corner. And then again, I'm going to place a single crochet into each of the stitches until we hit the corner again. And then right here in this middle, this second double crochet of this 3 double crochet cluster we got going on here, I'm going to place a single crochet plus a chain 2 plus a single crochet right into that center stitch. And that's how I'm going to complete this final round. And then when I've completed the final round, I'm going to join and fasten off, and then I will discuss with you the next step. Okay, so as you can see, my triangle is complete. I have 2 of them here. And so what you're going to want is you're going to want 6 of these triangles. And then the next step you're going to do is you're going to turn them around so that the back faces you. And then you're going to line up corner to corner. And you're going to just do a whip stitch. Sew these 2 pieces together using this back loop only. Basically, they'll pretty much, looking at it from behind, you're going to be looking at your front loop. So you're going to be using this loop right here, and you're going to tie it into this loop right here. And these are basically the loops you're going to use as you whip stitch. So basically you'll start here with these ones, and then you'll move next onto these 2 loops, and then onto these 2 loops, and then so on and so forth. You'll just continue to whip stitch. Now, once you have all your pieces sewn together, this is the perfect time to block it. You're going to find that your piece might be a little tight and a little cinched in places. So before moving on to the next step of this tutorial, take a few minutes, block your work, let it dry, and then once that happens, you will have a nice smooth disc in which to finish things up with. And the first thing you're going to want to do to finish things up with is by using a blanket stitch in the middle. Now, this is a completely optional step. I think it finishes off the piece perfectly and beautifully. I think it gives it just that little touch of something extra. You don't have to do it, but if you do choose to do it, simply blanket stitch the center of your piece, giving it a nice buttonhole opening. And again, once everything is blocked and completely dried, this really is the perfect time to add those additional embellishments you think may elevate your work. So now that I have all my pieces sewn together, and then I have my button stitched center put in, I'll show you what the back looks like. Just your basic whip stitch in the back loops only, just to give us this nice round doily, table topper, miniature tree skirt, whatever you happen to be using it for. So next I'm going to move on, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to place a single crochet in each stitch all the way around. And as mentioned before, you use the color yarn that suits you or that you happen to have on hand. I'm going to be using this same multicolored green sock yarn that I have. And you can see it's the same sock yarn that I've used on this piece. All the green you see is basically this sock yarn, except I've got some green in here that's a different sock yarn, but it works. It's close. Again, this is a stash buster, so I'm using a variety of things to give this a fun and more cottage feel. So really just going to start anywhere. I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to start right here. And just tie in, place a single crochet into that first stitch, and I'm going to just simply single crochet each stitch all the way around. And when I've done that, I will meet you right back here for the next step. So once we've finished making this complete round of single crochets, I'm going to move over to my next color. And my next color is going to be this red. And what I'm going to do is, it doesn't matter where I pick up at. I'm just simply going to go ahead and I'm going to tie in. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make a half double crochet into that same stitch. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to half double crochet 4 more. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. So that gives me 5 stitches. And then in the next stitch, I'm going to half double crochet 2. 1 and 2. So that's going to be the sequence I follow all the way around. I'm going to half double crochet 5, and then in the next stitch I'm going to half double crochet 2. So again, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then 2 half double crochets in the same stitch. I'm going to continue that sequence, that pattern all the way around. Now you may or may not end up even. It really doesn't matter at this point. Just go ahead and do as many of those sequins and stitches that fit into the sequence pattern, and then once you get to the first stitch that you make, go ahead and fasten off. And I'll meet you right back here with that. Okay, so almost done. I've completed this round of half double crochets. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do one more round. I'm going to continue to do it in the red. You can do it in whatever color works for you. But what I'm going to do then is I'm simply going to single crochet, but I'm going to single crochet back loop only. And I'm going to make that single crochet all the way around. And then when I've completed this last round, I'm simply going to join and fasten off. And then that's all there is to it. So I just want to go ahead and thank you for joining me in this tutorial today. It's been great fun. I'm very excited. This table topper mini tree skirt is the perfect mat to place your miniature tree on. And it really is a nice piece to highlight any small gifts you might have, or any other little holiday baubles you might want to set up on this mat against the tree in order to give your space a little holiday cheer and a little color and a little whatever it is that makes your Yuletide special. All right, guys, thank you for joining me today, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye now.